Wrestling fans, welcome to the Big Smodge. I'm Scotty Bender alongside superstar Rob Schulz and the big guy, and still quarantined, still in our undisclosed locations. How's everyone holding up? I mean, this is going into week 3 now? Week 4? I've lost
Something
track.
Like that. Yeah, it's here we are.
Yeah.
What are you wearing today, Rob?
I'm wearing my Dawson Knox jersey, 100th season. Remember that guy?
No. I didn't know if he's on the team.
I hope so. He was very hot cold with them.
Tight end, right?
That's right, tight end. He had like a colossal catch and run that really caught people's attention and captured their imaginations with what could happen with this team. But then some days it was just watching Scotty's camera.
Yeah, Scotty. Who's your little friend there?
Oh, you know what? George Bush happened to say. George W. Here, say hi, George. What do you want to say to all the wrestling fans out there? You have always inspirational words.
I was raised in the west of Texas. It's pretty close to California. In more ways than Washington, D.C. is close to California.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good. So
we love having special guests.
Yeah, especially George W. America. So, yeah, he'll be popping in and out. Like I said, just going to put him off to the side here. So
look forward to it.
Yeah, George W. and his inspirational words here for our wrestling fans out there. So WrestleMania was this weekend. What did not going to go into the whole what did everyone think? I mean, more specifically, the big talk I think was the Undertaker AJ Styles match, quote unquote, or the movie. People are calling it a movie, a B movie. So, Schulzie, what did you think?
I was a huge fan of it. To no surprise, I was also a huge fan of the Firefly Funhouse match, but of course we're talking about Undertaker now. I've loved all these filmed matches, even back from like the Compound days and the Hardy Compound days. I don't know, there's just something else about them that I really dig. It's like I've heard some rumblings that might have been like Undertaker's last match. I don't know, man. He looked pretty full of fire in that one. I like when he was like, "Look what you made me do." When he cut his arm on the window. It's good stuff. I loved it.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed it for what it was worth. I mean, I didn't, there's people out there, saying, "Oh, it wasn't wrestling." Of course it wasn't wrestling. It wasn't meant to be a wrestling match. It was meant to entertain. And I was entertained. I really was. I would rather have saw that than an actual match between AJ Styles and The Undertaker because
for sure.
AJ Styles, his style, and an Undertaker style, I don't know. It could have been a shit show. I mean, if they actually had a match, Undertaker, AJ would have had to really slow his game down to keep up, to have the Undertaker keep up with him. So I thought it worked. I really enjoyed it. I didn't, for once I took my wrestling, I'm more traditional, pure, wrestling. I took that hat off and I just really enjoyed it for what it was worth. And him driving away and the Undertaker thing, like it was. I liked it. I thought it was good. I mean, for what they had to do, I know Triple H, Jeremy Borash, and Michael Hayes produced it. I thought they did a good job. Big guy, what'd you think?
I think I'm gonna throw it to a clip.
Oh, okay. Bonus.
Let's do it.
I don't know. I like when the Druids come out. He knocks all the Druids out. It was like a B movie.
He looks like a whole new guy, like just full of energy and moving with lightning quick speed.
I was gonna say he looked like a new guy too. I was gonna say he looked like Joe Exotic.
Yes. Well, did you guys hear that about rumored next? I know people are talking about his not demise, but is he going to retire? But they've already talked about him, his next opponent at the next WrestleMania. Check this out, Chuck Norris.
What?
Yeah.
Oh.
And a 3-way with Claude Van Damme. It's really going to be a big Pier 6 brawl. The three of them guys. It's going to be awesome.
At the Norris compound? Not in the video clip here, but my favorite thing was AJ Styles popping out of the coffin.
Yes.
Like popping out of the coffin laughing. I thought was the perfect start to this thing. And I mean, there were a lot of great moments in it. I loved all their big falls, into the hole. I'll show you a hole.
You did say that. This is the part of the match where Undertaker struggles to breathe, and I legit thought he had the Rona. No!
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
not the Taker.
Terrible. AJ's getting knocked off the roof was pretty awesome. That was great.
Yeah. Again, I just, for once, I just, instead of like being a hater on stuff like this, because I tend to be at times, I just kind of let myself enjoy it, just enjoyed it for what it was worth, what it was. And I got to tell you, it was, I liked it. I enjoyed it. And I
was always a big Phenom fan, but man, Biker Undertaker coming back up, such a cool, reveal of him from, boots to the top of him. Just awesome.
It's funny because people are there's, obviously it's just his last match and stuff. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say I'm torn. It's like the old Seinfeld, go out on top. I mean, if this was his last match, think of some of the other matches he's had in the past with Goldberg and Saudi Arabia. They've been garbage matches. And that was not how I'd want to go out. Where if he went out on this note, it was great. But then on the other hand, I'm like, man, if this was good, I mean, if he comes back and has the energy and the fire like he did here, I'd like to see more Biker Undertaker. So, as far as him, hanging up his boots, if they can continue to if he can entertain like this, I'd still like to see him out there.
The big question, though, was this... Oh, go ahead.
Would you like to see him in regular matches or more of this?
I think he found his wheelhouse.
He did. Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I think he'd have to be, put against the right opponent that, can work the style that, he's not a spring chicken anymore. And I really I enjoyed this so much more. I mean, they did fight, but I think in the ring, it wouldn't have been as entertaining as this was. So I think, WWE, they had a home run on this one. They did. It's going to be a talked about match for generations.
So Kurt Angle. Oh, go ahead, Rob.
Was this AJ Styles' last match?
Yeah, he did.
He was left in a hole.
He was buried.
Yeah, with his hand up.
Yeah, that was great. The gloved hand too, was awesome.
So do we think the Undertaker is done?
I don't.
I do not.
So the network is debuting that miniseries, Undertaker: The Last Ride.
Yep.
They did a 10-minute preview. It was pretty darn cool, seeing him out of character.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like they're building up to him having his last match.
I agree with you. I don't know if the WWE, when they went into this match with Styles, I'm not saying you go in to fail, but I'm not sure that they thought that was going to get as much positive review as it did maybe. So maybe in the back of their heads, they're like, okay, we'll do this and we'll kind of set Undertaker, they start putting the wheels in motion for him to retire. However, the popularity of, and again, people posting and stuff, but, overall, I mean, the overall, what's we're looking for, reaction to that match was positive and it got over. So I don't know. I don't know if they have to call an audible and maybe, continue on with this, but, again, WWE they go by what the fans want. If the fans want this or they want more Undertaker, they're going to give them more Undertaker.
I'm not frozen. I don't know what happened.
All right. So we just saw a little bit of the Firefly Funhouse match. What'd you think of that?
Right? I loved it. Loved it.
Oh, you loved it?
So much.
Wow.
I was talking to you and Scotty during WrestleMania. Remember that? We were on the texts. Mm-hmm. And I was like, where's that SmackDown Power Fist? I know it's in this room somewhere during the Edge and Orton match, and there it is, Firefly Funhouse match. Awesome.
Yes, agreed. What I enjoyed about that was it really kind of, was it break the fourth wall? It kind of really was a shoot, on a lot of the things in the career of John Cena and some of the decisions he made. I can't remember the wrestler. I read a tweet. He kind of broke down every segment. He's an independent wrestler. The Undertaker match was, really entertaining. It was like a B fight movie, but this was just more. I really enjoyed the psychology of it, and the story that they were telling was a little more deeper than. So yeah.
Okay.
So I have a bit of an unseen era in my wrestling history. Did Cena cross paths with the NWO or Bischoff at some point in a substantial manner?
No.
Okay. I thought that was fun, though, too. I'm a big NWO fan, and seeing Bray Bischoff there was funny. And Ruthless Aggression Cena was... I didn't know what was going on. It was just good stuff, really good stuff.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I went back and actually watched it a few more times, quite honestly.
Oh,
wow.
Just to kind of... Well, I had read that guy's breakdown of it, and after I read it, then I went back and kind of watched it and kind of was looking for what he, how he broke, each segment down in Karina and Cena's career. So I was kind of looking for what he kind of described.
I gotta say, Scotty, you're way more prepared this week.
You think? I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get used to this podcast thing here. A lot more competition out there. A lot of people, a lot of people know they're wrestling. So I'm a little, I said I'd be, a little more prepared this week.
I'm just kidding with you.
No, I know. But I'm not, though.
So Orton and Edge, that was kind of another filmed match.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, lots of editing, lots of retakes. What do we think of that match?
I thought it was strikingly similar to the Gargano Ciampa match. Like, there were parts that were almost like the exact same roadmap. I mean, fighting on top of an 18-wheeler, just going all over the place. I thought the Edge-Orton match was good for what it was. I know at one point Joey said they shouldn't even be commentating anymore, which is what happened in the Gargano Ciampa match. They just fought silently, which was a different feeling to it. I kind of got bored with that one, though, to be honest. The Edge-Orton match I enjoyed more. I think that was more for the, what can we see in this room, though? I hope they go back to promos. I hope they do this. I'm interested to see where they go from here, or what Edge gets to do after this, so on and so forth.
But these were like the most talked about matches were the non-traditional. This is something you don't normally see. Is this what people are going to remember most about WrestleMania 36? It's not Drew McIntyre. So. It's not Braun Strowman. It's
no, it's these matches.
Yeah.
I just have a different take. I personally never bought in, or I was not a big fan of this Orton Edge feud. I don't know. I mean, that's just, I never liked it. I wasn't invested. Orton would come out and, beat up, hit everyone with a chair and, and RKO'd Beth. And I could care less. And, I think this match would have been better in the arena. And I don't know. I wasn't buying into it. That's just, again, personally, I was not. After seeing the Firefly, those and seeing those matches, this one was not one of those ones that I'm going to remember or care to remember, quite honestly. I like Edge. It's not personal with Edge. I love it seeing Edge back. I'm sorry that he had to come back during the pandemic, and I would have loved to see him more wrestle in front of a crowd, like a real WrestleMania like live event match than this. This I don't know. And then I don't know.
So you don't like Orton?
No, I don't.
So I like the match. I liked it more than the Funhouse because it told a coherent story. And I thought they were really like laying it in. They were hitting each other. They were making it realistic. It did go too long.
Yes,
it was the
very long.
second longest match in WrestleMania history.
WrestleMania 12, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Iron Man match. Did I get it?
And then every Triple H match, and then this one, I think.
Yes.
But I don't know.
And it's funny, I read this after the fact, but I kind of thought it when it was going on, and I didn't text it or to you guys, but and I really did think this. And then after I saw people writing about it when they were using the weight bench or using the weights and stuff like that, because I had just seen the Chris Benoit dark. So I thought, I don't know. I'm hoping that wasn't a reference to that, but it was just kind of coincidental that I just happened to watch the Dark Side of the Ring with the Chris Benoit story, and then talking about how he hung himself with the weights, and then they're over there kind of choking themselves each other. He's trying to, hurt, so I don't know.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I don't think there was any connection.
I know, but Edge
would never do that.
No, right. But it just was I saw that, and I just, maybe because I had just watched Dark Side of the Ring with the whole thing, and then I saw that, I'm like, ugh. But yeah. I know, I'm sure it wasn't intentional.
All right.
He's got a Chris Benoit.
We'll take a break and be back.
Yes.
With more.
You gentlemen understand perception is reality? You understand that? So why do you two look the way you do and he looks the way he does? When I send you out on a trip, what do you think people think of you two? You look like them, like you could be one of them. When you walk through the airport, what do you think the perception is of you? You think it's power? Wealth? Look at you two. Look at him. I am here to make every single life I touch extraordinary. Okay, you understand that? And when it gets laborious, when it becomes a sacrifice to you, that means that you two are looking at the exit ramp and not the highway ahead, where the next sign reads, unlimited power, unlimited success. Do you two understand? Get your act together and show me that you want it. I have an opportunity for you.
Yeah, Brodie Lee back on TV again, Rochester's own, back on Dynamite this week, and looking dapper again as usual. I mean, he's really stepped his game up. He's got the driving the Range Rover and the Exalted One.
It's weird seeing him speak so much and in like such an authoritative tone. Like he was, lackey forever, and then part of a unit, and then when he went off on his own in WWE, like he barely even talked ever. Mm-hmm. So this is strange, but again, showing like what he can do. And I like it. It's nice to see him doing something different in a positive manner for a change.
Mm-hmm.
Scotty, what do you think?
I didn't enjoy this week's segment as much as in the past with him. I'm gonna put myself out there. Maybe you guys know. I mean, I don't know. Was the whole tie thing, was that a shot at Vince McMahon? Is there something that I missed there with, you're wearing a tie and you're not, or, I'm going to rely on the dirt sheets, or is there something that I missed?
I think it has more to do with just the policy when they travel. They have to dress
that's what
up
I was thinking. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking that they, because they have to dress in ties and, and suit jackets and things of that nature. So, okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still on board with it, but I need to see some more. I need to see something different. I think moving forward, I don't know. It was meh. It was kind of like, and
that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah, I just wasn't. It was like, oh, okay, he came out, beat that dude quick. He beat the jobber dude, and then, he walked. That was it. And he had new ring gear. Looks like, right? New ring gear. It was a little different this week.
Old ring gear, if it was recycled from Repo Man.
Yeah. But yeah, I need to, again, not to sidetrack. I just need to see more. I need to see more of a development. I'm not giving up on it, because I was a big fan of it when we talked a few weeks ago. I'm like, oh, this is, I'm excited. He's going to be the leader, but I just haven't seen any really inwards of development of the character and the group.
Now, I'm going to slightly defend it, even though I don't like it. They are limited in the roster that they have available right now. Like SCU, they're in California.
Mm-hmm.
Jungle Jack, Luchasaurus in California.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of the tag teams they'd be feuding with aren't there. Lucha Brothers, Pac. There's so many guys not there. I think we're stuck with,
to your point, that's true.
Squash matches. And,
yeah. But again, you know what? The good thing, and I'll go from a negative, but he is getting TV time, so that is good. I'm glad to see he is getting the TV time, and people are becoming more, familiar with this, with him. So, again, I'm a big Brodie Lee mark, so I've always been ever since he was in Rochester. So it was good, but I liked how he stared down little Marco Stunt after the match.
Just slapped the hair off that guy. Oh
yeah.
Not a Marco fan?
I don't dislike Marco, but I don't know. I could take it or leave it. I mean, if he told me, if we heard tomorrow that he quit AEW, I wouldn't cry.
So he's the guy that's there all the time, often?
He's from Alabama, so
okay.
They're taping in Georgia. He's close. He can probably drive there.
And Brodie lives in Florida now. You're right.
Yeah, the guys who have to fly in are the ones who aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Jake the Snake, he left DDP's house to go film. DDP wouldn't let him come back. Said he had to go into quarantine.
True?
He's in some hotel in Atlanta for 14 days.
Nice.
And speaking of, and Lance Archer, I think there's going to be some great stuff with him. I'm really looking forward to him and Moxley down the road. I mean, I know they fought New Japan over the I think it was the New Japan US title or something or whatever. But I know they've fought, or they've definitely had matches in Japan. So I'm looking to see the Lockhorns here in the States in AEW.
Could be fighting for the TNT title soon.
Oh, Jericho.
Oh, it's
momentary.
My God. Oh,
tell me,
God.
Rob.
I loved it. It was wonderful. There were so many good one-liners, like, look at Pineapple Pete. Who is this idiot? I hate that guy. To go on, Brett, hit her back, get your receipt. Stuff like that.
Yeah, he was using the insider terms, like, she just potatoed her. You know what I mean? That's an insider.
I love it. She took a powder and holds onto the rope. That's good stuff.
I mean, as someone who's commentated, I got to tell you, I'm kind of hard on people. Like, not because I think I'm anything great, but I'm more critical. And I got to tell you that I could have just turned the TV off or just turned my chair around and listened to him. It was just great. And I got to tell you, I believe what.
Do you do that? You'll just turn around and face away from the TV?
I could have with him because it was so entertaining what he was saying. All I needed to do was listen to him,
What do you do when Byron Saxton's on?
The opposite, right? Turn the audio off.
Right.
Video on.
That's awful. Just awful. I mean, I don't even know it. Not the WWE. I just don't understand some of the people they trot out there in the commentary. I don't understand it. There are so many more folks that are just so much better. But
the latest word with that is they're bringing the King back.
Oh, great.
Even
one-liners
with
from 1980s.
Yeah, the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's bring in the 70-year-old.
But I got to tell you, I've been critical on women's matches, and that Brit match, I'll tell you, I was entertained. And you throw Jericho's commentary, and I think Rob, you even made a joke, and we were texting about she went from Ace Frehley to Gene Simmons all in one match. That was awesome. Jericho was great. Jericho was great, and I thought Shivani stayed in his lane. If Shivani knew what to say, he let Jericho go. They just let him go, and Jericho took over, and Shivani was a good. I don't know if Jericho would have been that good with JR. I don't think they would have been. They would have. It would have. No, I don't. I think Shivani just knew again how to stay. He stayed in his lane, and he let Jericho go, and he added things to Jericho. He understood his insider stuff he was saying, but you know what Jericho was doing, and I really enjoyed it because he was doing something that I used to do when I was doing commentary, is reference moves from wrestlers. Like he would say, "A la Bruiser Brody," or "A la this guy," or "A la Jerry Britt," and I enjoyed that. That's like my playbook, So I was good that he was referencing. He was recognizing old past wrestlers and their moves and where they came from, and I've always been about that. So I really enjoyed. He was funny, insightful, knowledgeable. I don't know. He was just, and he wasn't
beautiful
like
to
that.
The eyes.
Yes, thank you. And you know what else I liked about it? He wasn't. He was a heel, but he wasn't like overly heelish where it was annoying. Where he was just trying to be a heel. We've had guest commentators on WrestleVision. They come in as a heel commentator and they try too hard to be that heel, and it comes off very bad. That you're trying too hard to be a heel. He didn't. He just wasn't. He was a champion, and he was just Chris Jericho. And I got to tell you, it was so good. And oh man, he's definitely going to have a career after this when he can't wrestle, because he was fantastic.
I hope we get to see more of him commentating as early as next week. I love him calling him like Skivone the whole time, and then like early on,
Pete.
Pineapple Pete. Like during the Britt Baker match, he says to Shivani, he goes, "What, you all crush for her?" Shivani was kind of like backing up. I think he did have a crush on her. It was pretty good though. But then there are two other times he said he's like, "I've never cheated in my life." He was saying like that. And another time he said, "The ref should shut up, stand in the corner, and do what I tell him."
He called the Billy Gunn the fanboy. Look at that fanboy.
Yeah.
He was just good. He was a breath of fresh air. And I'm gushing over it, but just really, after it was over, I was like, man, that was good. That was really. It didn't matter what the matches were. You know what I mean? He just listening to him. He enhanced all the matches. So I don't know.
Imagine Shivani and Jericho calling the Boneyard match. Incredible.
Wow.
Oh, good.
All right.
But
we're going to take a break.
Yes. Jared can stay home. That's my thought. But.
Yeah, no one misses him.
No, they really don't.
Out of the bag. Put on gloves, let him fight for real, man.
Brawl should be remembered for what it was. It was a train wreck. I never knew who was going to get hurt tonight.
Just a couple punches. It's like, wow, it's over.
I want to kill you! You're going to kill me over professional wrestling.
Woo. Maybe that was the stupidest idea in wrestling right there.
Fans?
George, what did you think of Brawl for All?
I am not part of the problem. I am a Republican.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you have it.
Thanks, George. There you go. He is not.
So,
part
Scotty,
of the problem. Yes, sir.
You watched Dark Side of the Ring, Brawl for All.
I did.
What'd you think?
I did. That was probably one of my favorite episodes. If you want the truth, I've enjoyed all the dark sides, and the reason I'll tell you why I liked it. Not that I haven't learned a lot from the other ones, but from this one, I never knew the backstory behind Brawl for It All. I knew Brawl for It All, but it brought back so much, and it really tied a lot of things up in a nice bow for me, and it explained a lot. I'll just run. I didn't know Russo. The whole Brawl for All idea came because Russo didn't like JBL because JBL was a bully in the locker room, and he wanted to see him get knocked out. That's amazing to me. That's amazing. Yeah. So Rob, yeah. I'm a huge Dr. Death. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I'm a huge Dr. Death fan, Dr. Death. And I kind of remember him coming into WWE and having a lackluster career, but I forgot that he I knew that he was supposed to win it and then Bart Gunn knocked him out, but I didn't realize during the match that he tore his hamstring and then he was out for a while. And the whole idea was for him to come into the WWE to face Stone Cold because he was this big, wrestler guy and, very, very successful in Japan. And the whole idea was once he won Brawl for All, he was going to be Stone Cold's next adversary. But obviously that didn't happen.
Same name, too.
Yeah. I also learned that the Godfather smokes a lot of weed. And he used to smoke before his matches.
Who knew?
Who knew? The Godfather.
Unbelievable.
It was, it was, seeing Draز, in the wheelchair, I remember that whole thing when he was paralyzed and, it was good to see him on. I feel so bad for, if you can throw
Butterbean. He hasn't lost any weight.
Butterbean. No, Butterbean looks terrible.
What?
Because Butterbean, because after Bart Gunn won the Brawl, that threw everything off into they didn't know what to do with anybody. They didn't know what to do with him, so he sat home for a long time. And then they came up with the idea to have him box Butterbean at WrestleMania, and then he went and they trained him as a boxer. So, and then he was just talking about how when he went into the match, he was. I mean, Butterbean basically said he was going to, he was going to knock this guy out. He was trained and he felt bad for Bart Gunn because he knew that he was going to knock him out. And he even said during the match when he hit Bart Gunn, he's like, I'm just going to hit this guy one more time and I'm going to put him down. The biggest thing that came out of it was I really felt bad for Bart Gunn because I think he got a bad deal. They threw him into this match, this tournament, and it was a shoot. You were not supposed to lay down. These were not fixed matches. And he went in and he knocked out, he beat Dr. Death and he knocked out JBL and he beat the Godfather. He beat, in my opinion, 3 really tough guys. But the thing with, and Jim Cornette was fabulous. Jim Cornette hates Vince Russo. That comes out clearly in the show.
Yeah.
Hates him, wants him dead basically. But it was good to see, So I really enjoyed the Brawl for All, and I'm actually going to probably go back and watch it again. It was just very insightful. It just kind of brought everything together about why it happened, and then just the fallout from all the careers and people that got hurt, and it was pretty amazing. But the fact that it was done just so because Vince Russo did not like JBL, and JBL was a big mouth in the locker room, so he just wanted to set a tournament up where JBL would get knocked out or beat up, and he did. And eventually, and all of this for that, and then and just the ripple effect of what it did to people's careers. And Dr. Death was never the same again, and God, he's rest his soul. But it was really good, really, really good.
And next week, Superfly, Jimmy Snuka.
Yes,
the murder.
Why Snuka?
Wow.
Yeah. But if anyone listens, if you get a chance, definitely watch the Brawl for All. It's good. Yeah, it was great. I mean, I remember
at home. Where can they see this?
It's on Vice, the channel on cable, or vicetv.com, and some episodes illegally on YouTube.
Which is where I watched it, thanks to the big guy. Sent me a link.
Ixnay. Kayfabe.
Yeah, but no, that was one of my favorites. I mean, the Benoit one was fabulous. I liked a lot of them, but that one, I walked away from it feeling very I just really understood a lot more what happened, and that was good. They did a nice job.
I just love the idea that a cable network dedicated an hour of their programming to break down the behind-the-scenes story of the Brawl for All. It's crazy.
Worst
and it was
wrestling
awesome
idea ever.
Yeah.
But it was funny at the end, too, when they were talking, because they're like, back then, they didn't, now we're talking about concussions and things these days. And they were like thinking back then, they were letting these guys go out there and just hammer on each other and just get hit. They weren't wearing headgear. Like, they just went out, they weren't like amateur boxing where you wear headgear and they were out there. I mean, Bart Gunn was just.
It seemed like Vince Russo was the only one who didn't realize that. It seemed like everyone else was like, these guys are going to get hurt. And
Yes.
Vince Russo was
Jim
like,
Ross. Yep.
well, I want to see JBL get hurt.
Yep. Jim Ross is on there. JR's on there too. And he was talking about how it was just the worst. They knew that they called it a shit show. They knew that like after the first, and they couldn't explain everything. Yeah. And when they're doing the commentary, they don't know if they couldn't even call the match. They didn't know what was going on.
The Big Schmaz podcast.
Yes.
What is that time?
Oh, so that's what Russo was doing now.
He's got a podcast.
Oh, that's it. Okay.
They'll give a podcast to any person. Speaking of popular things that are on the internet, it is time for the number one segment.
Oh, man.
Schulzie Explains It.
Oh, shoot.
These acts were intended to frighten us. They have failed. Acts can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but cannot touch the foundations of America.
There you go. Explain that.
Right.
So this week, Rob, you get to explain
Oh, no.
the backstory, the goings-ons, the what's happenings, Royal Rumble, MSG, the year 2000, Kurt Angle is in the ring. What happens next?
So Kurt Angle, he had been in the Fed for a little bit, and he was on just this torrential streak. Like, nobody could stop him. And he gets to Royal Rumble at MSG. He does not have an opponent. He's in the ring to kick off the show. And the lights go out, I think, and we've been seeing these, like, not vignettes, but like little weird signals around. Like, they look kind of like Goldberg's, like, tribal tattoo. And that pops up on the Titantron. The crowd there is going absolutely bonkers. They have a good idea of who it is, being from an ECW crowd. And Taz makes his WWF debut, then comes out there and is just throwing Angle around. And awesome match. I'm getting goosebumps now, actually, about it. I really like that match a lot. I like that whole show, actually. I've seen it many, many times. So, yeah, Taz makes his debut. He's the first person to beat Kurt Angle, but it comes out, Kurt Angle says he got it reversed the next night because it was a chokehold. Is that enough? Yes.
All right. So this week, the hot button, it's not as much as a hot button. It's more as commentary on something that happened this week and just my thoughts on it. And so I don't know if you fans all know out there, but I'm a huge Howard Stern fan. Love Howard Stern, but listening to Howard back when he was on the radio in the wars with Brother Weeze, and I just love Howard. And everyone thinks of Howard, as a potty mouth. Back in the day, he was, cheap humor, cheap heat, I guess is what they would call it, shock jock. But he's really turned into a phenomenal interviewer. And I know Big Guy is a Howard Stern fan and will back me up on this. He has done some really good interviews with people. He really brings out the best and can just really, just really dive in, ask questions, and get people talking about things that can be uncomfortable or off, out of their comfort zone. But this past week, he did an interview with Tom Brady. I'm sure you guys all know that. Brady, obviously just signed with the Bucks and hasn't really done many interviews. And, he's been a Stern fan for years. And he did an interview with Howard Stern, which I had the pleasure of listening to, which really was a great interview. Howard did a great job. And Brady, Brady was Brady. Brady didn't say anything bad about Belichick or the Patriots. Obviously, he wouldn't. But, he had some funny stories. And, the funny thing that came out of it was that Howard asked Brady how big Gronk's dick was. And, because Howard's always obsessed with other people's size of people's penises. And he just, and he was asking Gronk, about Gronk, because Gronk's like, got this big body. And he's like, you got to tell me Gronk's got to be huge, right? So Brady's just like, whatever. He's like, whatever you think of Gronk is probably true. So that's not what my hot button's about. So the morning of the interview, ESPN, so I have issues with ESPN. I'm not going to lie to you. I think there's a lot of hacks on ESPN, and They kind of, to me, are, some of the, I'm not going to get into names, and well, I might, but there's just some of the people on there, they give them time, and like Rex Ryan is a fucking hack. Okay. And you guys have been nothing but a fucking loser in his NFL coaching career. And they bring him on like he's some Vangelis. He knows what he's talking about, but that's not what the rant's about. My rant is about that Howard Stern has had on numerous sports figures in interviewing in the past. And probably one of the best interviews I've heard outside of Tom Brady was his interview with Joe Namath last year when I was driving to Florida. But I don't know if this rant makes much sense, but that's okay. I'm more ranting about the fact that ESPN that morning was all over about Tom Brady interviewing Stern, which they never ever talk about Howard Stern, and they never mention Howard Stern or any of the other interviews he's done with sports figures, and now because it was Tom Brady, it was like, oh, he's on Howard Stern, and they were quoting things that Brady was saying, and I get what they were doing, but it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Because Howard has done so many great interviews that they don't fucking mention ever. He's had George Foreman. He's had so many great interviews with sports figures, past and present, and he doesn't get mentioned. And, just because it was Tom Brady, ESPN was like, they're breaking the story about, oh, he's on Howard Stern, and they were listening, like, oh, we're listening right now. And, oh, he just said this. And they're like, is he going to say anything bad about, Bill Belichick? And, it just, I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way because it's like, oh, now because it's something that you guys care about. Howard's been doing interviews and doing great things for years, and you never mention him. And now all of a sudden, he's the greatest thing since like sliced bread. And I was just glad that Howard, got mentioned because again, I have a lot of respect for him, and I think he does a great job outside of what people may think of him. So kudos to Howard and his crew for getting the Brady interview, and he just did a really good job with it. So that's kind of, like I said, it's not really a rant, but it's just ESPN just rubs me the wrong way. And I thought they were just trying to kind of just, piggyback off of the fact he was doing it. And they never talk about Howard Stern. And now it's like, oh, he's on Howard Stern. Brady's on Howard Stern. And, oh, he just said that, because the big thing was that he knew he was going to leave. He knew he was leaving New England last season before the season started. He knew he wasn't going to be back, so they just kept quoting it. It was on the news all day about him being on Howard Stern, and I don't know, stuff like that pisses me off. But
what does George W. say?
George, what did you think about it?
The American people would not want to know any of the misquotes that George Bush may or may not make.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. So anyways, but if you get a chance, if you ever can listen to the interview, it's a really
totally
good interview.
Normal.
Yeah.
Totally normal.
What are we looking forward to next week? Wrestling. More of the same.
So Io Shirai won the NXT Women's #1 contendership. I am pumped for the Io Shirai Charlotte match when that happens. I'm also excited to see who Nia Jax destroys in her next match. Is going to be Deonna Purrazzo again.
I'm looking forward to next week on Dynamite, the empty arena match with Jon Moxley and Hager.
Aren't they all empty arena matches?
No.
Well, this one was it filmed in the arena 3 weeks ago. Where Matt Hardy debuted.
Oh, the one where he transported down the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's next week. That's good. I'm looking forward to that match, quite honestly. I'm looking forward to seeing that and I'm looking forward to maybe Jericho's on commentary again, just some more inside phrases, and
we can only hope.
If he drops a "you better call 911," man, then we'll know he's listening to my stuff right now. But it'll be interesting. Yeah, I'm going to watch SmackDown tonight, and
I want to see what Bobby Fish is going to do. Next. What's next for him?
He's like Benjamin Button.
Except the opposite.
He's
just getting old.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry, Benjamin Button got younger. I'm sorry.
He's like that guy, except he does it in the opposite. So he's just
Bizarro.
A normal guy.
He's Bizarro Benjamin Button. Bizarro World. He's Bizarro Benjamin Button.
Jeez.
Going backwards.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
All right, stop it.
The Big Schmaz Podcast.
Yeah.